Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our men's advanced Bible study, the 26th of September, 2025. I'll be reading out of the book of Barak. I'll be reading chapters 1 and 2. I'm going to read that and break it down. Okay. You can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine, and get the meat out. And these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. We have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. So for anybody that wants to support the channel or help it move along, okay? With that being said, those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. And by that I mean we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, okay? This channel was created to aid and assist our Hebrews who are waking up to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our men's advanced Bible study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, or psalms, current events, some need to know information. Then we open it up for any questions, comments, dialogue, testimonies, and then we'll go into our topic for discussion, which is something that big is going on in the U.S. Okay, we're gonna deal with that. I got 3 different videos on that to try to, shine a light on what's happening. Okay, then our scripture reading, like I said, it'll be out of the book of Barak. We'll be reading chapters 1 and 2. Then, as usual, we pick a scripture, read that scripture, and break it down. Then we close out. Okay. Moment of silence for the Lord of hosts, and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee. Excuse me. Before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did. For we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and keep Your commandments, Your testimonies, and Your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform all the words of the covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people. Hear our plea. Hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us any longer, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay? We'll read the Psalms. Okay, then we'll break that down.
Yes, sir. Shalom, Brother Leonard. I'll be reading a Psalm of David tonight, Psalms 29. And it says, give unto the Lord, O ye mighty. Give unto the Lord glory and strength. Give unto the Lord the glory due unto His name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. The voice of the Lord breaketh the cedars. Yea, the Lord breaketh the cedars of Lebanon. He maketh them also to skip like a calf. Lebanon and Syrian like a young unicorn. The voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire. The voice of the Lord shaketh the wilderness. The Lord shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord maketh the hinds to calve, and discovereth the forest, and in His temple doeth everyone speak His glory. The Lord sitteth upon the flood. Yea, the Lord sitteth king forever. The Lord will give strength unto His people. The Lord will bless His people with peace. And shalom. That is Psalms 29.
Okay, you got anything on that?
Brother Linda, another like the voice of the Lord, it's another one of those like when I was asking you about like the angel of the Lord, the strength of the Lord, all of like I see these, it's another title, right?
Well, the voice of the Lord is, you go to Daniel chapter 10.
You said Daniel chapter 10.
Yeah.
All right. Start at 1.
Now, started down there where in chapter verse 5, when Daniel describing the Lord of hosts.
Mm-hmm. And it says, and in the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his
Who's that?
eyes. That's
Who is
Michael.
that?
That's the Lord of hosts.
Keep going.
And his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. Okay. And the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude, right?
There goes his voice right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what it sounds like. A voice of a multitude, which is
Right.
fearful. Make you tremble.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So right. So and then that's the other one that I was gonna say. I'm glad you said the fear of the Lord. So the fear of the Lord is the Lord of hosts. Or is that
The fear of the Lord is that right there. Remember when the Lord of hosts, Moses kept leaving the camp, all doing a journey in the wilderness, and then the people said, we don't know, you keep coming back telling us this God said this, and God said, we don't know if you're going to talk to somebody or not. Well, we want to meet him, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then Moses brought the Lord there. That thunder, that voice you just talked about, scared all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fear of the Lord. When they heard that, that's the fear. It's the fear of him. It's the same way if you in the woods and you come across a Black Panther.
Right.
That Black Panther put fear in you.
Fear the Panther. Okay, yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the fear of the Lord.
Right.
His majesty, his voice, and his presence. You know, his presence brings fear. Like I was saying, that's one of his characteristics, and that's one of his names. He who causes men to flee. Right?
Right.
So you say, what are you talking about? Where you was at? I think is it. Keep reading where you was at. And James chapter 10.
I'm sorry. I go back real quick. Get it real quick. And so it's in verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.
Keep going.
Oh, yes, sir. In this verse 7, and I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore,
that's the fear of the
right.
Lord.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They fled. That's what one of his names is. One of his characteristics is he who calls men to flee. When he come upon them, when they see him or his presence or his voice, they flee. They get on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's how we know this ain't JC.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Okay. And brother, I got a question too about verse 3 in Psalms 29 and 3.
Right.
And it says, the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon many waters. What's going on right there, sir?
So when the flood came, right,
Yes, sir.
and the water came, it had to be thunder and lightning, right?
Right.
That's it. There it is. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the voice of the Lord upon the waters. Read that again.
But in verse 3, it says, the voice of the Lord is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. The
There you
Lord
go.
is upon many waters. Right.
There it is. Right.
And then also in verse 10, where it says, the Lord sitteth upon the flood. Yea, the Lord sitteth king forever.
Exactly. So
It's-
he's in all that. You would assume that it's nature, but it's him.
mm,
See what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Right.
Sure.
So when you understand all that, it's got to be something definitely wrong for not to fear the Lord.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yes, because
Right.
Brother Leonard, because it also said too, I'm sorry, in verse 7, it says, the voice of the Lord divideth the flames of fire.
Right.
So excuse me, that got me thinking kind of of Shadrach and Meshach
Exactly. That's it. Exactly.
and Abraham.
Right. And then also remember how that not when they took it out of our, they took the book of Enoch out, book of Jasher out, but like I was saying in previous videos, long before Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was put in the fiery furnace, Abraham was put in the fiery furnace, and so we know was a situation that happened with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He had some of his officers putting them in there, and the fire was reaching out, burning up some of the men that was putting Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in there. So the
Mhm.
fire was like it had a life, had a life of its own, right?
Right.
That's him. Same, and then we see the same thing with Moses, with Abraham. When they put Abraham in there, they said the fire reached out and burned up a bunch of the men that was around the furnace.
Right.
There ain't no fire that we know on the earth, is it?
Right. No, sir.
So the fire got a life of his own. That's him. So you say, what are you talking about? He shapeshifted on the bush.
Hmm.
You know, in Exodus chapter 3. He changed it to a fire on the bush, and the bush didn't burn. The reason the bush wouldn't burn because it wasn't regular fire.
Right.
So when the Lord of hosts, when Yahweh made him and those other six angels, he made them he's a consuming fire. And he made them from him. That's the fire that was in the furnace that saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and that's the fire that saved Abraham. Right.
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 And her Brother Leonard, Haran went in with Abraham and he didn't make it.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Hmm. Okay.
And the reason he didn't make it because he didn't believe in the Lord. You remember they came from Mesopotamia, and they father worship idols. So Haran worship
Hmm.
idols like his daddy did.
Right.
And
Hmm.
he was conflicted between serving the Lord and serving his father's idols. So he tried to make a deal with the Lord in his mind and said that if the Lord delivered him out of that, then he gonna side with the Lord rather than believing like Abraham did that the Lord was gonna deliver him out of the fire, like he did with Shadrach, Meshach, and Daniel and Abednego. They knew. They told Pharaoh before he even done it. Whatever you do, our God, we with our God. If you feel
Right.
fit for us, if you feel fit to deliver us, He's gonna deliver us. And that's what he did. So another example that while we on this subject is That's why when you understand who the Lord of hosts is and then who Yahweh is, when they came, it was Yahweh that came down on Mount Sinai. And then that's why the Lord, the host, came down and told Moses to go down there and set bounds around the bottom of the mountain and keep the people from breaking through to come up and gaze. They think it's the God that Abraham dealing with. But he had to tell them, no, Yahweh up here. And you can't break through the gaze at him. Like they did in chapter 24, when Moses took the 70 elders up and they looked at the Lord from a distance, from afar off.
Mm-hmm.
The creator of heaven and earth, Yahweh, you can't walk up on him. That was the whole purpose that he created the 7 angels, was because he can't deal with the creation. He can't deal with nothing that's tainted or nothing that's defiled. He's gonna reach out and burn it up. That's who his essence is. So he created these 7 angels, not no son. In the very beginning, he created these 7 angels, the eyes of the Lord that do all his bidding. And over them, he put the Lord of hosts, God that's over Israel. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Brother Leonard, on that, so Mount Sinai and Mount Horeb are different mountains, right?
Exactly.
Okay. See, I think everybody who's awakened, I haven't heard anybody differentiate that.
Right. That's why it says when you understand that it was more than one covenant. It was a covenant made on Mount Horeb, and it was a covenant made on Mount Sinai.
Mm.
So you say, what you talking about? Well, when Moses went to the backside of the desert, he came to the mountain of God. Who was on the mountain?
The angel.
The angel of the Lord. And what did he do? Yahweh sent him
Right.
along with Moses to save the Israelites out of Egypt, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what did he do? When he got them out of Egypt and brought them back to where he dwelled, where he was at, Mount Horeb. They came to Mount Horeb first. Then from Mount Horeb, they went to Mount Sinai. That's when the cloud came. Yahweh came from heaven. He came down on the mountain. That's what I was saying. He told them, put borders around this mountain. Don't let nothing come up here. Animals, man, nobody says they're going to break through here and gaze at the Lord, because it ain't going to happen. You're going to consume them.
Yes, sir.
Ain't that so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got anything else?
In this one, okay, in verse 11 in Psalms 29,
Right.
the last verse where it says, the Lord will give strength unto his people, the Lord will bless his people with peace. That's a good thing for sure. But could you explain that verse, Brother Leonard?
That's in the end. You're gonna, peace. You're gonna bring shalom to us after all that we've been through. All of the captivity is 2,500 years. So captivity we've been over here. He's gonna, in the very end, resurrect our forefathers. He's gonna use Elijah to bring our fathers that he resurrected out of the earth to us.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah 56, and when he does that, he's gonna bring peace on earth.
Right. So no more sin and all that after Ezekiel 37. So we won't be sacrificing. And I'm asking the question.
Yeah, he's bringing us back to Jerusalem. That's what it says in. I read it all the time. Isaiah 60. You can read it, verse. Well, we can start at 1. I think go to 1 to 8 or 1 to 7.
Jeremiah, Isaiah 60, and it
Right.
says, start at 1.
Yeah. So we told that JC came and died and put an end. They want to fumble with it and say he put an end to whole burnt offerings and all that. So we're gonna see if that's true.
Right.
Okay.
In Isaiah 60, it says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles, and the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee, and the forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come with
That's it.
acceptance. Right here. Okay. They shall
So
come with acceptance.
I kind of round minister to Israel.
On the altar.
Right. So that's the whole purpose right there. He took we see that he took away all the things. When he said he hid his face, he destroyed the temple, took away all of the things that we needed to deal with him. That's how he hid his face. But when he come back, like he said in verse 1, he's back. The Lord is over us, right? And so he's restoring all those things that we need to deal with him. That's how we deal with him, through sacrifices. So then we see he bring back, like he said, the flocks of all these different flocks that we need sacrificial animals. And then he says the rams are gonna come up on the altar. What rams? The same ones the one that Abraham was looking for when he got ready to sacrifice Isaac. He needed a ram. When Abel brought a ram up on the altar. So right back, it kills what JC tell you about JC. As soon as we get back, we got to pick back up with those sacrificial animals. Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
Right. Oh, yes, sir. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're gonna go to current events right here. I'm gonna play this and then we'll deal with it.
Now about the possible government shutdown and other news coming out of D.C. this week with Ben Hulak, our Washington, D.C. correspondent. Ben, great to have you with us tonight. As we just heard David talking to Senator Andy Kim about, obviously we are once again staring down another possible government shutdown. What can you tell us about the real sticking points in the negotiations? What are they right now?
The point of the contention really here is in the Senate. The Senate has Democrats have leverage there. They essentially have no leverage in the House. So in the Senate, Democrats are pushing for an extension of ACA or Obamacare tax credits. These were tax credits Congress created during the Biden administration to prop up these federally backed health insurance exchanges. Democrats want at a minimum a year, likely more, and Republicans are balking at that, saying they should just do a short-term continuing resolution or CR here in Washington speak to kick the funding can down the road a few more months.
So that comes at a price tag of about $1 trillion, is that correct?
Well, we haven't seen final text. In theory, yes. Let me caveat, a big caveat here is that the Republicans hold majorities of both chambers, and any sort of Democratic bill would still have to clear the House where Republicans hold a majority, and there is no filibuster. So things pass in the House on a straight line vote, simple, plain majority. So functionally, there isn't a lot of negotiating room Democrats have in the House. And again, it has to clear both chambers and be signed by President Trump, which is a tall order at this point.
But we're looking at right now just a real impasse in terms of some budget numbers that both sides are looking for. Democrats, as you said, looking for, I guess it's about $1 trillion in those healthcare tax credits. And then Republicans are looking for spending for security. Can you explain what that is?
Right. This comes in the wake of the killing of Charlie Kirk, and to back a little bit farther up, Congress. This is a perennial issue. Members of both parties and both chambers all have horror stories, as I've written about and talked to our members about, of death threats and violence against them, violence against their offices, their spouses, their children. What Republicans want is a small portion of funding for member security, and also to spend some money on executive branch protection as well. And these are all just negotiating chips at this point. That's why I'm sort of hesitant to put a dollar figure out there. Perhaps I would, at this point, maybe there is a deal to be had if Democrats in the Senate in particular do not give the 7 votes that Republicans need to pass their legislation. Reminder for viewers at home, to clear the Senate, a bill needs 60 votes to get over that filibuster threshold, and Republicans only have 53 seats. So where does the party get those 7 Democratic votes? That's really that is still a huge question. That is the question at this point. And as Senator Kim has said, and Cory Booker has also said elsewhere, they're likely not going to get, at this point, they are no's. They are on paper no's. Maybe there's a deal to be had.
Is there anyone who you know they are courting on the Democratic side to try to get support?
Well, one potential vote at this point could be John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, just next door. He has been a little more flirtatious, I should say, in his votes recently, and has been voting with Republicans on a handful of issues. But you're still, if you're the Republicans, you're still 6 votes short. Yeah. And you're certainly not going to be coming from New Jersey's members.
So what happened?
Okay, so what do you think about that? The shutdown?
I mean, I guess I kind of look at like a government shutout, like when the NBA or something have a lockout, is how I see it. I'm not sure I necessarily understand it. I mean, I see they acting like they're arguing about something.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not sure I understand what to pass whatever bills, that whatever side wants to pass. What's going on with that?
Right. It's about the government as a whole, the budget, okay. And then the deficit is so high that the $37 trillion. So
okay, right.
They're saying that they don't want to. What's reason why this has been coming up the last 10, 15 years is they don't want to. They proclaim they don't want to add any more to the deficit. So that's what the shutdown is all about: cutting back on costs, on saving, on the budget, reducing the budget down, cutting it back, where we don't have to add to the deficit. So it's either yay or nay, according to the party that's in office.
Right.
And because Republicans in there, the Democrats don't want to, they don't want to give because they see what they're already doing, so they don't want to give at all. So that's how you get to the point to where we at right now, where neither side wants to give, whether to forward it or to not forward.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. It's all about what, sir?
It's all about the budget for the government.
Okay.
The whole budget.
Okay, so it's about the budget. So then I heard them say though that the Democratic side is short 7 votes and the Republican side is short 6. So how are they about to finagle? What's going on? Because they said it's only 53 people on the Democratic side. but they
Right.
need
So
them 7 votes.
So if neither side, one side got they trying to force the other side to succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And right now it's looking like neither side's gonna succeed. That's why where we at. That's why they looking everybody seeing as it's gonna be a shutdown because they look at the numbers.
Okay. And didn't the shutdown happen, but like not too long ago?
Oh yeah, a couple of years ago, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, like during the pandemic time or whatever, but I don't remember. So anytime that happens, it's just always over the budget.
Yeah, it's about the budget. That's the reason why, like government workers, all the government workers, nobody get paid.
Oh, right.
That's the reason. That's the one of the backlashes of going to the point where the government gets shut down because it caused all this drama with the pay. And a lot of people, it caused a lot of heartache for the population.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So that's what the whole thing is about: funding the government, whether to fund it or not to fund it.
Yes, sir.
Right. So with that being said, we'll go to this next one. Okay. I don't know if anybody heard about this, but I think this big me. J.D. Vance spilled the beans. You think that
crazy people
you think Trump enough, but this clown here, boy.
to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell.
Right now, it's time to start paying attention if you haven't up to this point. The right wing in this country, the conservatives in this country, the Trump cult in this country, and the people who are administrating the terror that we're all facing are trying to label the Democratic Party an extremist domestic terror organization so that they can stop fundraising, stop people from being members of the Democratic Party, so they can be a one-party country, much like Russia or China, or name another dictatorial authoritarian state. That is what Donald Trump wants. And they're doing it in public and acting like it's no big deal. And the way that they're going to do this is through labeling any violence that comes, any chaos that comes in a country where mass shootings are an everyday occurrence. They're going to act like the uptick in political violence forces them to do the thing that they're going to do, and that they're going to do premeditatedly. Yesterday, there was a shooting at an ICE facility, and before anyone knew any of the motives at all, they did the same thing they did with the killing of Charlie Kirk and acted like this is a radical left-wing, radical, insane terrorist doing this. They don't know anything. In fact, the evidence that they put forward early, before anything is known, before there's any suspect named, they're saying we found cartridge casings, unspent cartridge casings with the words, with an anti-ICE message on it. And you would think that anti-ICE message would be something like ICE, defund the police, wholly unbelievable. Because in the mind of this elderly white man, this racist from Tennessee, he's like, how do them blacks talk? Oh, I know, blacks rule, underline. Blacks rule. It's the same energy with this. And I'm laughing about it because, that's how I cope, I guess, but it is not funny. We are facing annihilation here. We are facing authoritarianism with the fascist boot upon our neck. And J.D. Vance, tip of the spear here, was on giving a speech yesterday, doing the same exact thing, justifying in a premeditated manner the thing that they're going to do, saying that you can't call your opponents Nazis. You can't call them Hitler. You can't call them fascist. You can't call them authoritarian. I'm going to read to you exactly in his own words what he said about Donald Trump. I will show you images that Fox News even put up on screen of the things that he's called Donald Trump. But before I do that, let's visit what J.D. Vance said yesterday about what you cannot do when you talk about the leaders in the United States.
If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
Is that right, J.D. Vance? If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everyone who disagrees with you is a Nazi? That's interesting. But I'm not surprised by Trump's rise, said J.D. Vance in a Facebook message. And I think the entire party has only itself to blame, meaning the Republicans. We are, whether we like it or not, the party of lower income, lower education white people. And I've been saying for a long time that we need to offer those people something. And hell, he says, as an aside, as an afterthought, hell, maybe even expand our appeal to working class Black people in the process. I mean, if it's going to help us, why not help Black people too, says J.D. Vance, when he was in his reasonable phase. Or a demagogue would. We are now at that point. Trump is the fruit of the party's collective neglect. I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical asshole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and might prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler, said J.D. Vance. How's that for discouraging? Again, he's also called Donald Trump noxious, reprehensible, cultural heroin. J.D. Vance has called Donald Trump. So save me the crocodile tears. Spare me the fake incredulousness, J.D. Vance, that you can't, if you want to stop political violence, you can't call your political opponents Nazis, says the guy who called the guy he works for a fucking Nazi. It rings hollow, J.D. Vance, because you are an opportunist. You're a lying, soulless, dignity-free actor, a boil on the body politic of the United States. You clown.
Okay, what you think?
JD Vance gearing up.
Oh yeah, is that so?
Yeah, I think that's all that's going on. But Brother Leonard, to specifically that shooting though with the at the ICE facility,
Right.
like in that video, because they were saying they didn't know like who the targets were, but then it comes to find out, they were targeting people that work for ICE. So
Yeah,
to me, okay, right. So then, but we don't know who the shooter is, who put him up to it, nothing like that, because that's a wild thing to target any agent of any agency, of the government. So
right.
to be shooting at them, and so then I'm thinking about all the nationalizations that's going on, like in DC and things like that. It just seemed like another reason for them to have an excuse to keep pushing that agenda right there.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's part of their plan. Okay. They got to keep it going. So when you understand what's happening as far as prophecy and all that, they see their world is going away. They see the Lord of hosts dissolving their world. So they have no other choice but to keep pressing forward. They can't just say stop. That's it, because the Most High is doing away with their world. Prime example right here. This is need to know information, and like I said, it also lets you know just how close we are.
Breaking. African Union puts $100 billion for returning African diaspora. Rich Africans by Takunda Mavika. Supreme Africa. Breaking news. Tisu Vanu Vacho. Supreme Family. Today's leak is the type that makes colonial ghosts choke on their croissants. According to a stack of classified AU memos handed to SABN, by Protocol Black and verified by Shadow Unit Zulu. Africa is preparing to do something no continent has ever done before.
Here we go.
Put $100 billion on the table to bring its sons and daughters back home. Not as a symbolic gesture, not as a PR stunt, but as a hard...
Did you just read that in Isaiah 66?
Yes, sir.
Bring my sons and daughters from afar. Here we go.
Strategic, economic, and spiritual project. The most ambitious homecoming plan in modern history. They call it the Return and Rebuild Initiative, RRI, though insiders jokingly refer to it as Operation Bring the Cousins Back. Part 1, how we got here. From brain drain to brain boom. Let's keep it real. For 500 years, Africa's greatest export hasn't been gold, diamonds, or oil. It's been people. Scientists, soldiers, artists, doctors, engineers, millions taken by force during the slave trade. Millions more lured by opportunity during the colonial and post-colonial eras. Today, over 210 million people of African descent live outside the continent, and they control over $1.2 trillion in combined wealth every year. African leaders have known this for decades. What's new is that now, with AfroGold set to become the backbone of a new financial system and Afrinet securing the continent's digital independence, the AU believes the moment has come to reverse the brain drain. Or as one leaked memo from AU Chair João Lourenço put it, it is time for the children of Africa to stop renting rooms in other people's empires and come home to build their own. Part 2, the fund, biggest homecoming in history. According to leaked financial blueprints, the AU's Return and Rebuild Fund is structured as follows. $40 billion.
So you think they're just gonna let this happen? Like I was just saying, they ain't got no other choice. They got to come out. They got to throw everything they can at the what they see happening. They world over with, so they can't do nothing but come with chaos and try to usurp it. So anything you see, you should be expecting it because we at that point.
Dollars for relocation, housing, and citizenship support for diaspora families. $30 billion in business grants and investment capital for diaspora-led companies. $20 billion for research, tech, and innovation zones to attract global talent. $10 billion for cultural restoration projects, museums, media platforms, and education programs. The money will come from a mix of sources. AfroGold reserves, contributions from the African Development Bank, and a coalition of wealthy African investors. Billionaires like Aliko Dangote, Patrice Motsepe, and Strive Masiyiwa are all named in the documents as private backers. One section of the memo reads simply, our people built other nations. It's time they built their own. Part 3, pilots already underway. The program isn't some distant dream. Several pilot projects are already active under different names. Ghana's Homecoming Visa has already granted over 15,000 citizenships to African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans since 2019.
So it's not an accident that the AU is going to kick off in February. We're looking at it. Like I say, it's a perfect storm brewing. We can't stop it.
Rwanda's tech relocation program is offering free land and tax holidays to African engineers returning from Silicon Valley. South Africa's Diaspora Investment Board is quietly offering 0% corporate tax for diaspora investors who create jobs. These initiatives, previously seen as individual national projects, are now being consolidated into one continental plan, under one budget, one passport policy, and one homecoming banner. Part 4. Why now? Geopolitics and opportunity. There's a reason the AU chose this moment. The world is shifting. Western economies are struggling with labor shortages and innovation stagnation. Meanwhile, Africa is projected to have the largest workforce on Earth by 2050. But talent is still leaving. According to the World Bank, Africa loses over $4 billion a year in GDP potential from skilled migration. Reversing that trend isn't just cultural, it's strategic. As one AU strategist joked in a leaked meeting, they stole our people. Now we're stealing them back with better salaries and sunshine.
This credit card has an interest rate that's really, really low.
Okay, a little more of this, and then we'll talk about it.
Gold's rollout. With the new currency expected to anchor trade across 55 nations by 2026, AU leaders see diaspora capital as the fuel that will supercharge Africa's economic takeoff. Part 5, the diaspora response. Emotion, opportunity, tears. The leaks triggered an emotional storm across the diaspora. In Atlanta, an African-American venture capitalist told SABN he was already preparing to relocate his AI firm to Nairobi. In London, a Ghanaian neurosurgeon who had spent 20 years in the NHS said he was finally ready to go home and build something for my own people. In Brazil, Afro-Brazilian activists called the plan a new exodus, a chance to rewrite the history of forced migration with voluntary return. And in Jamaica, one Rastafarian elder simply said, "The prophecy is being fulfilled. The children are coming home." Even
What prophecy? The same one we talking about. Okay? The same one is in our scriptures. Okay? And this is what all the drama is about. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. You got any feedback on that?
I agree with you, brother. But yeah, sound like in all the clips that we listen to in all the classes, it sound just like you said, like it's just getting closer and closer. Especially when you hear that video right there, that's directly targeted towards the quote unquote African Americans. And even, you know, with the diaspora everywhere, so us everywhere, the Hebrews everywhere, talking about coming back to West Africa. You know, I know that's Jeremiah 29. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And they came. It's and like I said, it's happening so fast.
Right.
So you have to be expecting anytime, any day soon, they're gonna have to do something. We saw what they did with Wall Street. Every time we started coming up, you got to know they gonna come with violence.
Right.
So whatever they come with, it's got to be big because of what we're looking at is big. So and it's got to be already approaching us or right around the corner because we're gonna leave. Okay. So anybody got any questions, comments, any dialogue, testimonies?
Brother Leonard, to kind of what we were just talking about, I seen a video of this African tribe. They say they're an African tribe. I think they said they're call themselves the Kingdom of Kabbalah. But so that was interesting too. But anyway, they are in Scotland. Like they're living in the Scotland woods, and right, and they've been kicked out. You know, in all these European countries, how they've been telling the African people to get out of here. You gotta leave. So they've been told to leave many times, and this dude is saying that no, like we're from here. He's saying he got the proof and all that kind of stuff. If he does say he has the proof of the people of the land of Scotland, wouldn't that make him an Edomite?
Exactly.
So I'm kind of thinking that's what's going on with him anyway. But yeah, he's like, it's just interesting. I can send a video out, but it's like it's just weird. But they're refusing to leave. My point of saying that is like just the people that didn't want to leave Egypt, the people that didn't want to leave Babylon, people that don't want to leave America. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a consequence for that versus you going back to where we were taken from.
Right, exactly. He says, and I always reiterate on this. When you understand what he's saying, he says he's gonna pour his spirit out on thy seed. So everybody ain't seed Israel for them to even start preparing themselves. You got in order for you to receive what the Lord of hosts is doing, you just said you got to build that. You got to build that stock.
Right.
So that's where the drama coming in at. A lot of people going by the appearance of the people, but we didn't intermingle. We didn't intermingle all over the place. We had a transatlantic slave trade and this thing going on now with these mixed marriages all over the place. And you don't know who's who. That's why he poured his spirit out, the spirit of the Most High. When it resonates on an Israelite, he's gonna react. And that's what we at.
Right. Yes, sir.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and Brother Leonard, yesterday you had played a video on the in the women's class.
Right.
Excuse me, you were talking about how they were searching for the angelic DNA.
Right.
And I was just thinking more about because a few of the sisters had mentioned like a few different shows. And then I was thinking about there's actually a ton of different shows. We always talk about how they put the truth in these movies or these TV shows. And
Right.
there's actually, I was just like, man, another TV show that I watched was the same way, called Supercell on Netflix. They're over in the UK and they're snatching up young black kids, but they're testing them. And when they finally do show wherever the lab is, it shows that these kids have special abilities.
Right.
Another show, Umbrella Academy. This movie called Jumper. Samuel L. Jackson was unaliving the people with special abilities. Like that's the
Right.
mission that he was on. So yeah, it's that was just interesting when I was listening to y'all speak about that yesterday, because I'm like, that is what they doing, because they already know who we are, so they trying to find people.
Right. They looking for people with angelic DNA, angelic characteristics they got from their fathers, not on the Hebrew side. And then you say you got to understand that these angels coming back, right?
Right.
So they trying to prepare for that.
Okay, that was my follow-up question, because it seems like when you watch all these different movies, even like the Matrix, just like the technology that they're trying to build, like they're always building the army. It's always to that purpose. In whatever they're doing, whether technology or whether they're cloning people, it's like they're always trying to get an army ready. And then that movie, this movie called Immortals, Brother Leonard, when it's like a back in the day kind of movie, like not quite Bible times, but a little after, but like during like Troy and the Greek times. And the point of the movie, everybody was trying to get like this special bow and arrow.
Right.
And that bow and arrow, the villain on the movie wanted the bow and arrow to unleash the Titans. You know what I'm saying? So that reminds me of that too. Like when they're searching for the people for special abilities, because even a movie like that, I mean, he was searching for an army. He let them loose to cause havoc.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so another thing about that too, I was back in the day, I was listening to something and revelation hit me about okay, they said Lucifer, right? He's just an example, right? That Lucifer is coming back de facto, right?
Okay.
So what they talk about when they say de facto? So us, look at us, our bodies, our makeup. Then, like I said before, we made in their image. That's what a lot of people go wrong at. We made in their image. So whatever we have on us, they got it. So we found that out when 200 angels came. Before that, you wouldn't assume the angels had no private parts. But we know now the angels had private parts because we got them. We made in their image. They're not made in our image. But anyway, So those angelic beings, they come down to the earth, and they've been doing or wrecking and doing all kind of damage on the earth, and we're assuming that it has to do with something else, when the whole time it's got to do with it's them. Well, it's so much stuff right now that we're looking at that on this planet. For example, I think it was last night, or it might have been the night before, we was dealing with the trees, the big old trunks of trees that was on Earth.
Right. Yes, sir. Tonight.
Right, and so they said, so when you look at it, like the guy was saying, if that's true, they've been cut down.
Mm-hmm.
So who cut them down?
Lord of hosts.
Well, angels, right?
Right.
So like I said, we look at stuff, we looking at it on a daily basis that angels done it.
Right.
We don't have understanding to it. Yeah, it was last night. Right. So yeah. So you got anything else on that? Any other question?
But in those giant trees, though, I did want to say to that I had seen some videos of that. It might have even have been that lady with the redirect in Proverbs 31 channel, but she was, whoever the video I was watching, they were talking about some of the mountains that we think are mountains were some of those giant trees that they were talking about in the video.
Right, exactly. And like I
Yeah,
said, they put it right in our face with the Avatar, the movie Avatar.
Right. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
They was existing. That's what they was living in, and they lived their whole world community was inside these big giant trees.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they rubbing it right in our face. And then if you go to the I talked about this a little here and there, but you go back to the book of Adam and Eve, where was Adam's children at before they at the end, before they were scattered? They was up on this big old plateau, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So when you look at these pictures they show you of these giant trees that was cut down, they plateaus.
Right.
Right. So yeah. So a lot to be considered on that. That what I do is pray about it, and then let the Lord of hosts in His own time and bring about the understanding on it. Right. So with that being said, I'm gonna play this right here. This got to do with Josephus. I'm always talking about Josephus. So I saw this. I said, well, I'm gonna put this right here in the mix because you got so many Hebrew Israelites. They referencing Josephus, and I understand that he's an Edomite, and he's the one of the main characters in our dumbing down. Okay, here we go.
Of history, some writings stand out like rare treasures, gleaming fragments that bridge the world of faith with the world of fact. Among them is one extraordinary testimony that has intrigued believers, skeptics, and scholars alike. It comes from a Jewish historian named Flavius Josephus, a man who lived in the very same century that Jesus of Nazareth walked the earth. Josephus's reference to Jesus is so striking, so precise, that for centuries it has forced people to pause and ask.
And this is a prime example of what I'm saying right here. He a nut bucket. All he did was wrote it. He just wrote this. They putting credence on it.
Could this really be true? What makes this account especially captivating is that Josephus was not a disciple, not a follower of the faith, and certainly not a writer of the New Testament. Yet in his words, we find echoes of the gospel so undeniable that they cannot easily be ignored. Before we dive deeper into this astonishing testimony, if you're fascinated by biblical history, ancient discoveries, and evidence that strengthens faith, make sure to subscribe to our channel. You won't want to miss the powerful stories where scripture and history meet. So who was Josephus? Born in AD 37, just a few years after the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, Josephus came from a well-educated priestly family in Jerusalem. He mastered Jewish scriptures and understood the political currents of his time. As a young man, he joined the Pharisees, the same group often in conflict with Jesus, and later became embroiled in the Jewish revolt against Rome. When that rebellion collapsed, Josephus surrendered and eventually aligned himself with the Romans, even serving as an advisor to General Vespasian, who later rose to become emperor.
So, like I said, the abomination of desolation we see happen, well, prophesied to Daniel in the book of Daniel. It happened in first and second Maccabees. So what is this? These Edomites. And they just told you Josephus existed around the same, he during this time right here. So if these people were Edomites, Josephus was Edomite. That's simple. Okay? So like I said before, this is another one of those things, like I said, where falling backwards in the dark, not understanding what these people have done, and you started referencing a demon. Because that's what it is. When you referencing him, you referencing a demon. Well, one of adversary of Israel. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. So with that being said, my topic for discussion is I don't know if anybody know anything about this, but like I said earlier, we see what happened in Africa. We see that they don't need the money from America no more. They dealing with the BRICS and they confiscated and reclaimed a bunch of their wealth, and they have their own money, and they want their people back. And so they setting it up on their own. They don't need America. The Lord of Hosts are making it happen with countries contrary to the ones that's brought us here. Like I said, Chaldeans came and got us and took us to Babylon, but they didn't deliver us. The Medes and Persians delivered us. They came here on ships and brought us to America. They're not the one that's going to deliver us. Most of the Lord of Hosts got somebody else that's going to deliver us. Now we're looking at it unfold. Okay, so like I said, understanding that just like they did with the Greenwood and Tulsa and all that. Every time we start rising, they came. So you gotta know they coming with something right now to try to cut this off. And here you go right here. Like I said, I got a couple of videos on this. So here go the first one. You gotta know this is coming. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Well, I have this very, very disturbing information that was shared with me, and I wanted to go ahead and get it out to my listening and viewing audience today.
This happened today. This manifested today.
For sharing this information. Is definitely one of those things that I think people should be paying attention to. These folk are making moves, and we need to be aware of what is going on.
Exactly.
Regardless to all of this and whatever these people have planned, this is still the day that the Most High has made, and we are still going to rejoice and be glad in this day. I don't plan on being before you long. I just wanted to share this basically breaking information with you because they're saying that this meeting was just called together all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
So let's go ahead and share this broadcast so that others can tap in on this topic with us. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy the truth, we double dare you to subscribe and be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified each and every time we upload or go live. When we bring this information to you, family, it's not for us to fear about anything. Okay, the Most High has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Having to sound anything to any of us without the permission of the Most High. The devil can't even touch you with that we are looking at right now. Something big is definitely going on. They have hundreds of U.S. generals and admirals that have been called to a sudden global meeting. And a lot of these folk don't even know what's going on. They just had to show up, right? And of course, Pete Hegseth is the one who have called this meeting. So we're going to go in and uncover some of the details. But as some have stated, they still don't know why is this meeting being called? Why is this going down? Right, here we go. It says Pete Hegseth orders hundreds of senior military officers to Virginia for a highly unusual meeting. Highly unusual. Okay. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth attends the ceremony right here, but that's just a reference for the image there. But what they are doing right now, it says hundreds of U.S. generals and admirals from around the globe have been called to Virginia for a meeting with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth next Thursday. Several U.S. officials told CNN, though the reason for the meeting is unclear. The meeting is expected to be held at the military installation in Quantico, Virginia. Multiple officials said they're adding that no one seems to know what the meeting is about, including the general and flag officers themselves, or why it was suddenly added to the calendar. So that's one of those things that the Trump, breaking away from the article for just a moment, that's one of the things that the Trump administration has been doing. They have been doing these shock things, these things that take people by surprise, right? They have no idea what the meeting is for, but they're calling generals and admirals from around the globe to come to this meeting.
Okay. Anybody heard anything about that?
Shalom. No, sir. I haven't heard about this. Is
Okay.
but I would think it's in efforts to stop, what's going on with Africa, though.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're gonna cloak it though with something else, but yeah. Let me see if I can get this other thing to come up. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna let this play while I get this other video up.
Giving you no context or anything. So I can imagine the frustration of some, like, what is this sudden meeting for? What is it for? Why are you calling us suddenly and we don't have any details other than you saying show up next Thursday?
Okay, here we go.
Washington is buzzing with whispers of power and secrecy. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered every single U.S. general and admiral to report for a closed-door meeting, a gathering of America's entire military brass at one place. That is rare, and this is raising eyebrows. Take a look.
A call that has rattled Washington. All generals and admirals of the U.S. military are told to report for a classified meeting at Quantico, just outside Washington, D.C. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, issued the unprecedented order. No leaks, no agenda, no exceptions. Not for routine war games or cocktail briefings. It seems something tectonic is brewing. With only hours' notice, hundreds of generals have dropped ops, left their posts across Asia, Europe, the West Asia, and hurried home for this unprecedented convergence. Not even those summoned know why. The official line is silence. Inside Pentagon hallways, gossip flies. A drastic new strategy, mass firings, budget cuts, or something more dramatic. President Trump, when pressed by reporters, dismissed the meeting as not a big deal. He also confuses it with a meet of military commanders of other countries.
But why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
Isn't a big story? I mean,
I don't think it is, sir.
I would think it's, no, but isn't it a good story? I mean, we're respected from all over the world as a military force.
Such gatherings are extremely rare in American history. Even during wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the entire military brass was never assembled like this. The mystery has only deepened with officials refusing to comment on the agenda. The world watches anxiously. Russia, China, allies, all reading the signals. Never before has America's war room closed ranks like this, and whatever happens next could redefine the nation's military future with ripples felt beyond the boundaries of U.S.
Okay, what you think? Yeah, they trying to play it off like as if it ain't nothing, right? And this something.
Right, yes, sir. Yeah, it's definitely not nothing, especially when you gather people of authority like that, authority figures like that.
And look at what we see happening. That's the crazy part about it. You're supposed to be like I said earlier, you're supposed to be expecting this right here. You're gonna last.
So a lot of big headlines coming out today, a lot of developments coming out with, take a look at this. Hegseth has ordered an urgent meeting of top generals and admirals. This is coming out today, September the 25th. Hegseth is said to have summoned U.S. military brass from around the globe. The unusual directive, without the stated reason, came after the defense secretary fired several top officers and ordered a reduction in 4-star officers. Many are saying that we could be preparing for war here. Hegseth orders hundreds of military commanders to Virginia for an unprecedented.
Like I said, what's gonna stop what we see happening? War.
Meeting. Now, this comes as well earlier today. I shared with you. Take a look at this. The U.S. scrambled jets after Russian warplanes entered international airspace in Alaska. We saw those warplane bombers entering. They said it was international waters along Alaska. That came out this morning. Apparently, that took place yesterday. And take a look at this. NATO, EU have declared war on Russia through Ukraine. Lavrov claims coming out today. A lot of these headlines here, you can see, actually, I think all of them coming out today. NATO is at war with Russia, says the Kremlin, as drone incursions continue in Europe. Live updates. The Economic Times reports Russia threatens World War III if NATO attacks its combat jets. Lavrov says the U.S.-led military alliance and EU declared war on my country, and there are threats coming out to the United States as well. Nuclear threats. Actually, let's take a look at this headline lower down here. 8 minutes ago, Putin ally fires nuclear warning at Trump's United States. So threats coming out directly to the U.S. as well. Things are intensifying today. And as I shared with you, I believe this one was yesterday, if I remember correctly, Russia says there is no choice but war. After Trump U-turned on Ukraine, he said, we are going the direction of war. And as you can see from the headlines coming out, it is intensifying. It's getting really intense right now. Russia foreign minister says Moscow is in a real war with NATO, Europe. Take a look at this. Netanyahu's jet largely avoids European airspace in unusual route to New York. They're saying just stay away from where there's potential conflict about to erupt. And the EU chief slams Russian aggression that threatens every nation at this time. And that is, we are hearing that we could potentially be going to war here, including the United States. And that's what a lot of people are saying. Hey, why is it that all of these generals and admirals are meeting in an urgent meeting on September 30th? What is taking place undisclosed? They're not giving the information as to what is going on. Let me know your thoughts if you think we are about to go to war. And I mean.
Okay. Any comments on that? Like I said, we shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, yes, sir. This is what's his name, Brother Leonard? Alfred Pike or Albert Pike or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, the World War III joint.
Right. And we see that what's happening when it comes to us, the prophecy is unfolding, and so they just a reaction. Fix it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So this is their resistance.
Right. This is what they call themselves usurping the Most High's authority. Yeah. And like
so,
they don't, like I said before, half of them don't even understand. Like this guy Pete Headset, he don't know shit about Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, and the Lord of hosts and his the difference in that this fictitious God they gave us and the one that the actual real God. You don't know nothing about that. You're kicking against brick. Right.
It's Brother Leonard, I was gonna say, and they think all of this time not understanding that like we're serving a sentence. Then they don't understand that there's a time that he's gonna come back and get us. So they think they've been usurping him this whole time, right?
Right, exactly. And the thing about another thing about it is they don't understand. You can tell the way their actions are. Like I was saying yesterday, they steady going further. You know, a righteous man, he's gonna see where he went wrong at, and then he's gonna turn back. These nut buckets, they are after all the chaos they done brought on this planet, and especially to the Most High people, they stay bringing more and more drama. They're not going back and saying, "Let me fix all the bullshit I caused, clean it up." They steady bringing more and more drama. So, well, when the judgment comes, I mean, it ain't no sense to get no napkins because they got it coming. They're gonna put it on their ass. It's simple as that. And like I said, it's not according to the New Testament. It's according to what was told us by our forefathers and the prophets in the Old Testament that they skewed. Okay?
Right. So
that's where drama's coming in because they don't have no idea where it's coming from. Yeah. So with that being said, like I said, I was gonna read out of the Apocrypha. And I'm gonna read out of Barak, the book of Barak. I thought this was interesting. I'm gonna read 2 chapters out of it. So Barak is the scribe for Jeremiah, and Barak existed at the time during when Jeremiah lived when Nebuchadnezzar came. He came to Babylon 3 times, and eventually, on the 3rd trip, he burnt the temple down, decimated the temple, and ran it and took the majority of the Israelites to Babylon, right? So we're gonna pick it up. It says, "These are the words of the book that Barak, the son of Neriah, son of Mesha, the son of Zedekiah, son of Hediah, the son of Hilkiah, wrote in Babylon." So check it out now. In Babylon. So he a captive in Babylon. In the 5th year, on the 7th day of the month, at the time when the Chaldeans took Jerusalem and burned it with fire. And Barak read, check it out, Barak read the words of this book in the hearing of Jeconiah. You should know who Jeconiah is, I told you that, right? It's out of David's seed. This is where Zerubbabel came from. So he read this and Barak read the words of this book in the hearing of Jeconiah. See that? The son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the hearing of all the people who came to hear the book read, and in the hearing of the nobles and the princes, in the hearing of the elders, and in the hearing of the people, of all the people, small and great, in fact, of all who lived in Babylon by the riverside. So this is my point right here. Like I said, back to DNA and thinking like a Hebrew, and the Most High point he's poured the Spirit out on his people, on the whole world, but his people is going to react to it. So this is what Hebrews do right here. This is where we at. It says, Barak read the words of this book in the hearing of Jeconiah, son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the hearing of all the people who came to hear the book read. So it's a Hebrew thing. See that? Okay. Read. And the hearing of the nobles and the princes and the hearing of the elders and the hearing of all the people, small and great, in fact, of all who lived in Babylon. See that? By the river side. So let's back up. This is when they was in Babylon, all the Hebrews that was there. We in America now. So the books are being read. So you're not gravitating to it. It's a problem. We're in captivity in America, getting ready to leave. The Most High is opening the books up and the truth. Okay? So here we go. Then they wept, fasted, and prayed before the Lord, and they raised money, each one giving what he could, and they sent to Jerusalem to Jehoiakim the high priest, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Shulem, and to the priests, and to all the people that were found with him in Jerusalem, when he took the plate of the house of the Lord and had been carried away from the temple to return it to the land of Judah, the silver, which Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, had made after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried Jeconiah and the officers and the captives and the nobles and the common people from Jerusalem and had taken him to Babylon, and they said. So let me back up, because like I said before, we're talking about DNA and Hebrews and what Hebrews do. So I just showed you that when the reading they all came for the reading of the word. Even though they're in captivity and all that happened to them to get to captivity, they still gravitating to the word. But check it out. Say after they heard the word, they wept and they fasted and they prayed before the Lord and they raised money, each one giving what he could. And they sent it to Jerusalem to Jehoiakim, the high priest, and the son of Hilkiah, and the son of Shulem, and the priests. And all of the people were found with him in Jerusalem when he took the plate of the house of the Lord that had been carried away from the temple to return it to the land of Judah. The silver dishes with Zedekiah, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, and made after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried off Josiah and the officers and the captives and the nobles and the common people from Jerusalem and taken him to Babylon. And he said, have we sent you money? So buy with the money burnt offerings, sin offerings, incense, and prepare the grain offering and offer them upon the altar of the Lord our God, and pray for the life of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and for the life of Belteshazzar, his son, that their days may be like the days of heaven upon the earth. And the Lord will give us strength, and he will give sight to our eyes, and we will live under the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, that king of Babylon, and under the shadow of Belteshazzar, his son, and he will serve them for a long time and find favor in their sight. Pray for us to the Lord our God, and we have sinned against the Lord our God. And to this day, the anger of the Lord and his wrath have not turned away from us. So read this scroll which we sent to you to make your confession in the house of the Lord, or on the festival days and on the days of assembly, as you shall say. Upright belongs to the Lord our God, but confusion of face as of this day befits us, the men of Judah, the residents of Jerusalem, our king, our officers, our priests, our prophets, our forefathers, for we have sinned before the Lord and disobeyed him, and we have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, as to follow the commands of the Lord, which he set before us from the days when the Lord brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt until the day we have been disobedient to the Lord our God, and we have been neglectful, right, in not obeying his voice. And misfortunes have attended us, and the curse has come upon us, which the Lord agreed upon with Moses, his servant, on the day when he brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt, to give us a land that ran with milk and honey, as they have this day. And we did not obey the voice of the Lord our God, expressed in all the words of the prophets whom he sent to us. But we followed each one the design of his own wicked heart, so as to serve other gods, and to do and do what was evil in the eyes of the Lord our God. So the Lord made good his word, which he uttered against us, and against our judges who judge Israel, and against our kings, and against our officers, and against the men of Judah and Israel and Judah. Nowhere under heaven has such a calamity occurred as it has brought upon Jerusalem. And it was written in the law of Moses, so that one of us ate the flesh of his son, and another of us ate the flesh of his daughter. He has made us subject to all the kingdoms around us, to be a reproach and a desolation among all the people about us, where the Lord has scattered them. They were brought low and not raised up, because we have sinned against the Lord our God in not obeying his voice. Uprightness belongs to the Lord our God, but confusion of face befits us and our forefathers, as does this day. All the calamities which the Lord threatened us have overtaken us, yet we have not besought the Lord by turning away each of us from the design of their wicked heart. That's what I said. Let me read that again. I told you right here. This is what wicked folks do. Say, he says, uprightness belongs to the Lord our God, but confusion of face befits us and our forefathers, as it is this day. All the calamities which the Lord threatened us with have overtaken us. Yet we have not besought the Lord by turning away each of us from the design of our wicked heart. See that? And the Lord has watched for the calamities and has brought them upon us. For the Lord is upright in all his doings, which he has commanded us to imitate. So like I said before, this is another sign, DNA. It's not coming to you to turn away from what you see is wicked as hell, and instead of going forward, and he bringing a word to you, and you bouncing off you like water on a duck back. You ain't no Israelite. Point blank. Especially in 2025. It says, and now, Lord God of Israel, who brought your people out of Egypt with a strong hand and with portents and wonders, prudence and wonders, and with great power and with an uplifted arm, and made yourself such a name as yours is today. We have sinned, we have been ungodly, we have done wrong, Lord our God, in the face of all your ordinances. Let your anger be turned away from us, for few of us are left among the heathen, where you have scattered us. Listen, Lord, to our prayer and our petition, and for your sake, deliver us and grant us favor in the eyes of those who have led us into captivity, so that the whole earth may know that you are the Lord our God. For Israel and his descendants are called by your name. Lord, look down from your holy dwelling and think about us. Turn your ear to us, Lord, and hear us. Open your eyes and see. For the dead who are in Hades, whose breath has been taken from their bodies, cannot ascribe glory and uprightness to the Lord. But the soul grieves greatly that goes about bent over and sick with failing sight, and the soul that hungers will ascribe glory and uprightness to you, Lord. For it is not for the upright acts of our forefathers and our kings that we present our prayer for pity before you. O Lord, our God, for you have inflicted your anger and your wrath upon us, just as you promised through your servants, the prophets, to do when you said, thus says the Lord, bow your shoulders and works of the king of Babylon, and stay in the land which I gave to your forefathers. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord and serve the king of Babylon, I will put an end to the sound of joy and the sound of gladness and the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride in the towns of Judah and in Jerusalem, and the whole country will become untrodden and uninhabited. But we did not obey your voice and serve the king of Babylon, and you made good your words that you had spoken through your servants, the prophets, that the bones of our kings and the bones of our forefathers should be taken out of their places, and behold, they are thrown out to the heat by day and to the frost by night, and they perish in great misery by famine and by the sword and expulsion. And the house that was called by your name you have made as it is today, because of the wickedness of our house of Israel and the house of Judah. Yet you have dealt with us, O Lord our God, with all your forbearance and all your great compassion, as you promised through your servant Moses to do, when you commanded him to write the law before the sins of Israel, and said, unless you obey my voice, this great buzzing multitude will surely turn into a small number among the heathens, that they may, where I will scatter them. For I know that they will not listen to me, for they are a stiff-necked people. But in the land in which they are carried away, they will come to themselves, and they will know that I am the Lord their God, and I will give them minds and ears to listen, and they will praise me in the land of which they are carried away, and they will remember my name, and they will turn again from their obstinacy and their wicked doings, for they will remember what befell their forefathers who sinned in the sight of the Lord. Then I will restore them to the land that I swore to give unto their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they will possess it, and I will multiply them, and they will not be despised, and I will make an everlasting agreement with them, that I shall be their God, and they shall be my people. And I will never again remove my people Israel from the land which I have given unto them. O Lord, Almighty, God of Israel, the soul in anguish and wearied spirit cry out to you. Listen, Lord, and have mercy. Have mercy, and we have sinned in your sight, for you abide forever, and we perish forever. O Lord Almighty, God of Israel, hear the prayer of the dead in Israel, and of the sons of those who sinned in your sight, who did not obey the voice of the Lord their God, so that calamity have pursued us. Do not remember the iniquities of our forefathers, but remember your power and your name at this time, for you are the Lord our God, and we will praise you, O Lord, for you have put your fear into our hearts for this reason, that we should call upon your name, and we will praise you in our exile. For we have put out of our hearts all the iniquity of our forefathers who sinned in your sight. Here we are today in exile, where you have scattered us to be a reproach and a curse and condemned for all the iniquity of our forefathers who rebelled against you, the Lord our God. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. I kind of went into chapter 3. So any response to that? Anybody got any comments?
And shalom, Brother Leonard. One question that I have first is that so priests and kings have scribes?
No.
Okay.
The prophets have scribes.
Okay, so it's prophets that have, okay.
Right.
Okay,
Pretty much the Levites scribes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, you said pretty much the Levites are the scribes?
Right. They do all the work in the temple. That's writing down writing down history, writing down what said to the prophet, writing down the vision that the prophet got. That was all responsibilities of the Levites. Remember when we talked about the Levites was given to the high priest?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the high priest's sons, Aaron's sons.
Right. Right.
Right. So they served.
Yes, sir. Got you. Yes, sir.
Well, what stood out in this? What made me read it? What stood out in this? Let's go there right quick. This for all this Messianics out there in the land. Okay, we come across this video. So I'm always going here because it's big. All right. So I'm in chapter 23, Exodus 23. So let's look at it. So they're on Mount Sinai, and God of Israel, which is the Lord of hosts, which is Michael, right? It says that in verse 20, the Lord Yahweh came down. He's on the mountain. He's talking to Moses, and then he says, "Behold," he's talking to Moses. "I sent an angel before thee, an angel." Right? JC ain't no angel. "Behold, I sent an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared." This angel doing this. "Beware of him, obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him." So these precepts right here telling you a whole lot. You can fumble with them or whatever. Like I said, water on a duck back, whatever you want to do. But it's telling you, this is an angel that's led Israel. It's an angel that's over Israel, right? And the Lord of hosts Yahweh told them, obey this angel voice. Listen to him. Yahweh was only on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. He left. When he left, this angel is the one that's over Israel that led them into the land of Canaan. This is the God that's over Israel. And he tells us right here, beware of him, obey his voice, provoke him not Yahweh. Don't provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions. See that? So he overseeing. Then my name is in him. That killed JC. JC, the nutbuckets that wrote the New Testament telling you JC name, Yahweh name, JC name is JC name is in Yahweh name is in JC. But the scripture's telling you right here, this angel name is in Yahweh. That's why he's proclaiming all through the Tanakh that for his name's sake. It has nothing to do with JC. So then 23, like I said, who you gonna listen to? The creator of the universe or Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or Josephus? Okay, it says, "For mine angel shall go before thee, bring thee unto the Amorites, and to the Hittites, Perizzites, the Canaanites." See that? So this angel gonna bring them there. So who killing them? Who killing these angels? Who killing these giants? This angel is. Who delivering the Israelites? This angel is. Either one doing it. So now let's go to one more place. Then I'll bring the point home. So we go to and like I say, you can deal with these precepts or stick them in your ear, whatever you want to do with them. Okay, so we're in Judges. And like I said before, this stuff is plain. It ain't written in Chinese or nothing. You can't understand it. So I'm in chapter 2, based off what we just read in Isaiah in Exodus 23 and 20. "And the angel of the Lord," this is the same angel that's over in 23 and 20. "The angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Beckham and said, I made you," see that? "I made you to go up out of Egypt
and I have brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. So this who swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Yahweh, not Jesus, which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will not break my covenant. So how much do we have to do for you to see who this is? He overseeing, he over the covenant. He the one that's talking to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Who else is the God over Israel? Come on, so like I said before, this ain't firmating, this ain't being, you can't receive this, it ain't making no sense. You ain't no Israelite. The Most High pulled the spirit out. Something ain't right. It's a dead cattle line. This long before you get to Matthew and the concoction of the New Testament. He go to God, the deliverer, and the God over Israel right here. And these just precepts. These just a few of the precepts. But he's over in Judges chapter 2. He's telling you he's the one brought us out of Egypt. He's the one he's over the covenant. Okay, and then we see over in Exodus 23, he overseeing. Let's go one more place. Well, since we here, we got time. We go to Zechariah. And like I said, how you gonna get after you get this information? How you gonna get JC out of this or anybody else? So I'm in Zechariah. Okay, Zechariah chapter 3. Okay, here we go. This is Joshua being vindicated. So what Joshua is it? This is the Joshua just that came out of Babylon when the two anointed ones was raised up, Zerubbabel and Joshua. Lord of hosts doing this angel. He had to identify the seed of Abraham, the seed of David, and the seed of Aaron, the high priest and the king, in order to bring them out of Babylon. So we in chapter 3 of Zechariah, verse 1. And he showed me Joshua, the high priest. There he is, standing before the angel of the Lord. What angel? The one which I just showed you in Judges, and the one that's in Exodus. And Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord, the angel, said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that have chosen Jerusalem. So here go another characteristic. How many characteristics do we have to have for you see it? Now he's the one that chose Jerusalem, right? Rebuke thee. Is not this brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with a filthy garment and stood before the angel. The angel, verse 4, and he answered and spake unto those that stood by him. This is the other six. Like I told you in the beginning, he created these 7 angels, right? And he answered and spake unto those that stood by him, saying, this is the angel talking, take away the filthy garment from him. And unto him he said, behold, I, this angel, have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. And he said, let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with a garment. And the angel of the Lord stood by. And the angel of the Lord protested unto Joshua, saying, thus says the Lord of hosts, this is the God over Israel right here. If thou will walk in my ways, see that? Not in Yahweh ways. If thou will walk in my ways, and if thou will keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my people, my house, and shall also keep my courts. And I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. So like I said, I mean, what else? There's something definitely wrong if you can't get this. Contrary to how long you've been caught up in Christianity or whatever you caught up in. But you get these precepts laced in gold. Come on. Fumble with them if you want. So, any comments, questions on that? So with that being said, we're gonna pick a scripture like we normally do, and then we'll read that scripture, then we'll break it, rightly divide it, break it down, and then we're gonna close out because we right at our 2 hours.
Yes, sir. Brother Leonard, can we go to Psalms 35?
Okay.
And can I just read these first seven verses? And it says, plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler, and stand up for mine help. Draw out also the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation. Let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be turned back and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. Let them be as chaff before the wind, and let the angel of the Lord chase them. Let their way be dark and slippery, and let the angel of the Lord persecute them. For without cause they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. And shalom. That's Psalms 35. That was verses 1 through 8, Brother Leonard.
Right. So that syncs right along with everything else we just said, right?
Right.
Right. So it's like it's not ain't no room for no debate, right? But from the precepts and the clarification that was just pointed out is see who God Israel is.
Sir.
It's evident. Okay.
Definitely an angel.
Right. It's an angel. It only makes it fit. And my point was, if you fumbling with that, it was a catastrophe took place in before you get to Genesis 1:1 with Lucifer and his angels. Right? Who put them out?
Michael.
There you go. That's what? That's the same angel.
Right.
Right. He's the Lord of hosts over Most High's kingdom. Second in charge. He's doing all of he's the one that's doing all the dirty work for the Most High. That's who Israel deliverer is. Not JC. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. We got our morning Shabbat class in the morning. It's from 10 to 12 till noon. So if you want to engage and check it out, we'll be there at 10 to 12. Then we got our evening Shabbat class. It normally lasts about an hour, sometimes a little over an hour. We close out the Shabbat every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.
Shalom.
Okay. I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel. And there's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.